A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for starting with us on 32 FM 94.9 today, 6th of January 2022. My name is Dele Adeyanju. I welcome you warmly.
All right, my name is Chike Ubogu. Good morning, dear listener. It's the Breaker Down newspaper review on 32 FM 94.9, the station where joy resides. Remember, you can watch us live on YouTube. The channel is at 32FM 949 Ibadan. 32FM 949 Ibadan. We'll also open the phone lines later on, and then we get your thoughts. In case you're a first time listener, you can dial these numbers down while we open the phone lines later on. 0705 5000 949 and 080 7000 949.
I'll be taking headlines from the Guardian newspaper, the Daily Trust newspaper, and the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. I take headlines first from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Olubadan in council publicly announces Lekan Balogun as next Olubadan. Olubadan in council publicly announces Lekan Balogun as next Olubadan. Also, 2022 budget, Nigeria to pay more for non-alcoholic beverages. With this riders, FIRS collects 6.4 trillion naira revenue. Federal government records 1.104 trillion naira independent revenue. DG Budget Office, and also plans to right-size workforce in agencies. More headlines from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Oromoni's death. Lagos exonerates Darwen College students, staff. Federal government orders probe into Ile-Ife attempted jailbreak. Affair on Thursday. Nigeria is not ripe for cashless economy. Federal government formally declares bandits as terrorists. That's a front page story. Very big headline there. Ikoyi building collapse. Tribunal blames incident on erosion of professional ethics. Due diligence submits reports. Magodo, Lagos to search for 549 plots for Shangisha landlords. With this rider, Southwest governors decry CSP's disrespect for Sanwo-Olu, want Buhari to call Malami, IGP to order stop unjustifiable association of impunity. Okay, I can't say that very well, but I look at other headlines there. Ikoyi building collapse, I took that also. 27 years after Ijebu Igbo gets Orimolosi. I hope to see my son before I die. Father of Abdul Muttalab, jailed in US for terrorism, says. 2 staff members killed, 3 expatriates missing as bandits attack Zungeru Hydro Dam. And finally from here, I have no interest in who emerges my successor, Buhari, to sign electoral bill if options exist for primaries, reject state police again, says he is absolutely aware of people's pains. Kanu will account for his actions, but then education, not an automatic ticket to government jobs, he argues. Those are headlines from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
All right, front page bold headline from the Punch newspaper this morning. PDP, others kick as Buhari dismisses state police, insists on grazing routes. And we have these riders here. Opposition party Afenifere corporate president for saying state police not an option. Ohaneze plans meeting. President dismisses plea for Nnamdi Kanu's release. And we have to go back to grazing routes to address farmers herders clashes. That's coming from the president. More headlines here from the Punch newspaper this morning. Magodo, Southwest governors, sons attack Malami, IG, AGF, faults alleged impunity. With the rider, Lagos set-up committee agrees to give judgments, creditors land. More headlines. Finally, federal government releases gazette declaring bandits terrorists. Okay, we have here debt servicing gulps 76% of revenue. Experts, Buhari disagree on borrowings. That can be found on the 28th page of the Punch newspaper. Oshibajo plans meeting with NLC over subsidy removal, transport palliative. That's from page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Page 27 here, Senate probes BPE, alleges unremitted $679.4 million rent on ports concession. More headlines from the Punch newspaper. Soldiers invade Ogun community, kill two, label victims Boko Haram terrorists. No court case stops Balogun from becoming Olubadan. That's coming from the Kingmakers. SFU police ambush arrests Ogun landlords over land disputes still in court. Okay, let me take that headline again. SFU police ambush arrests Ogun landlords over land dispute still in court. More here, Akedolu alleges premeditated jailbreaks as army withdraws troops from prisons. And my wife, children visited my son in U.S. prison recently. That's coming from the underwear bomber father, Musalab. And lastly, Dowen, Sylvester's father, Falano, kick against legal advice, freeing suspects. These are some headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning.
Next is the Guardian newspaper. Federal government blames insecurity, low earnings for higher borrowings. Funding, teachers' motivation, infrastructural development top stakeholders' expectations in 2022. And UK scraps pre-departure COVID-19 tests, isolation for inbound travelers. Southwest governors counter Buhari on state police, insist on Amotekun. Exu first class not trade by barter, says VC. And I won't interfere with 2023 presidential election. Buhari promises. Akeredolu accuses soldiers of inducing jailbreaks in Ondo. Businessmen, Northern Coalition support Osinbajo for 2023 presidency. Experts berate health sector performance in 2021, make recommendations for improvement in 2022. At last, federal government declares bandits as terrorists. Also, Lagos 2021 internal revenue suffers over 180 billion naira shortfall. Ladoja absent as Olubadan Council endorses Balogun as Olubadan designate. Choice of Jonathan may ruin APC's chances in 2023, says Sumaila. Magodo land dispute. Sanwo-Olu pledges fairness, justice for parties. Imo PDP refutes Ihedio's alleged plan to dump party. 3 more. Gunmen kidnap Chinese other workers at Zungeru Power Project. Okorocha berates Ozodima, says Imo is under bondage. And finally from here, Romani, Lagos clears 5 Darwin students, staff members, orders release of suspects.
All right, moving straight to the Nation newspaper this morning. Bold headline front page. Buhari, why I won't disclose my preferred 2023 candidate. With the rider, decision to protect likely successor. I will sign electoral amendment bill when reworked. Okay, we have more headlines from the Nation newspaper. National Development Plan needs 348.1 trillion naira investment, says federal government. Buhari rejects state police. Okadibo's widow is NMPC Limited board chair. Okorocha hits Uzodinma. What is he saying there? Okorocha hits Uzodinma, says governor has a killer squad. Okorocha hits Uzodinma, says governor has a killer squad. We have here Gazette classifying bandits terrorists out with the rider. Order may affect IPOB. Kingmakers pick Lake on Balogun as Olubadan. Kingmakers pick Lake on Balogun as Olubadan. Federal government to lay off workers with these 2 riders. Severance package being worked out, says minister. And labor kicks immediately. Outrage over CSP's refusal to obey Sanwo-Olu, governor's AGF clash. More headlines from the Nation newspaper this morning. We have this one here that says improve budget allocation for education. Improve budget allocation for education. Challenges of operating business X-rayed. That's something to read there. Group backs Buhari on electoral bill. Okay, more headlines. What Gates reports tell us about our world. You want to read that from the Nation newspaper. Malami faults Southwest governors on Magodo crisis. Malami faults Southwest governors on Magodo crisis. Tinubu wife, Bajambia Miller, Sanwo-Olu others to honor Faleke. Lagos, Magodo land owners reach truce. Lagos, Magodo landowners reach truce. Buhari hails new leader of Supreme Council of Sharia. Took the story of Hope Uzodinma and Rochas Okorocha there. These are some of the headlines from the Nation newspaper this morning. We'll move over to some other papers.
All right, I take my next lines of headlines from the Premium Times newspaper, and it's mostly about Buhari. Unemployment, why Nigerian youth should be educated. Buhari. Ikoyi collapsed building report. Sanwo-Olu inaugurates committee for implementation. Malami takes exception to Southwest Governor's reaction to Magodo incident. Magodo, Lagos government to compensate Shangisha landlords with 549 plots. Darwen College, deceased family. Falana questioned Lagos government's decision. How social media regulation could affect the press. 2 inmates killed in attempted Osun prison break. Gombe politics. After months of bickering, Governor Yahaya Goje reconcile. Gunmen abduct Chinese nationals, kill security guards at hydropower plants in Niger State. Electoral amendment. I will sign amended bill if it's democratic. Buhari. Buhari speaks on his favorite presidential candidate. Court jails Bitcoin investment scammer 7 years for 930,000 naira fraud. Why I won't intervene to secure Nnamdi Kanu's release. Buhari. Buhari says he has tackled country's security challenges, and Buhari restates opposition to state police. Nigerian government gazettes declaration of bandit groups as terrorists. Just a few more. Buhari insists on cattle grazing routes to resolve herders-farmers clashes, and Darwen College reacts as Lagos government says late student died of ankle ulcer, not murder. Just a final one here. Olubadan in council endorses Balogun. Those are headlines from the Premium Times newspaper.
All right, let's look at some of these headlines before we go on the first break and then join Dr. Olu Ojedokun this morning. Veteran Nollywood actress Iyabo Oko is dead. Lionel Messi tests negative for COVID-19. Goes back to Paris. Real Madrid, Barcelona into Copa del Rey last 16. And the 2022 Grammy Awards postponed over COVID-19. These are some headlines here. We'll go on our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll look at some headlines, and Dr. Olu Ojedokun will do justice to some of these headlines. Stay tuned, don't go away.
What's in this woman arranged for me this morning?
Oh yeah, Gary. This one day new, sha.
You give me Gary, you not put sugar.
Sugar dey inside the Gary now.
Make not day here. You for don't tell me that one now.
Oh yeah, Gary.
Darling, no, you too much.
Really? Oh yeah, Gary. No look another place, so everything dey here.
Oh yeah, Gary is 50 naira and it comes in coconut and banana flavor.
Mọ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àyíká rẹ nípasẹ̀ ìròyìn BBC ní Yorùbá. Nítorí kí o tó lè tayọ, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́. Ní ìmísí pẹ̀lú àwọn oríṣiríṣi ìròyìn láti ibi àti káàkiri àgbáyé. Nígbà tí o bá ní ìmọ̀ nípa ohun tó ń lọ ní àgbáyé, o lè ṣe ohunkóhun. Mọ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àyíká rẹ. Wá BBC News Yorùbá kàn.
Your body, everybody jolly. Dance here for the matter. Spread the love for the area. Share the joy with golden penny. Yeah. Celebrate with golden penny. Yeah. Oh yeah, Auntie Shade, Auntie Uncle Jaye. Everybody they jolly. Now golden penny for the family. Oh Baba, it's the season of love.
Season's greetings from Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC, owners of the iconic food brand Golden Penny.
Me
mo kí gbogbo olùgbọ́ mi jákèjádò ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ ti ń láǹfààní láti gbọ́ mi àti láti gbóhùn mi ní àsìkò yìí. Pastor Dẹ́kúnlé Epaphras, wòlíì yín ni. Ti ìjọ
All right, welcome back. Still the Break of Dawn newspaper review on 32 FM 94.9. And we'll be joined now by Dr. Olu Ojedokun via the telephone line. Doctor, good morning, and it's good to have you once again. Compliments of the new year.
Yeah, top of the day to you, and of course, compliments of to 2022.
All right, Dr. Ojedokun, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Dele. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yes, finally, the federal government, though it took them a lot of time, but eventually they gazetted bandits as terrorists. Do we celebrate? What's the way forward from here? Eventually, this is the cry of Nigerians.
I think many of us are used to criticizing this government when it fails to do the right thing. So I think at least it should be noted, and we should, in some respects, commend them that at least now they've done the right thing. There were some commentators on various television, particularly, I won't mention the station, where the popular commentator went on saying they are not terrorists, they are just bandits. I think it's justification to those of us who were saying that these people are terrorists, plain and simple, and they should be dealt with accordingly. It's taken the government long, but at least they've come to that realization. Is it going to change the way they deal with them? It should change. I hope it will change. And I hope this time the government will get their strategy right and at least go to the root and branch and the causes of this terrorism and deal with it accordingly from that point of view. So, of course, when people like Gumi and other people meet with them, they know they're meeting with terrorists and not just simple bandits.
Now, what is the punishment for terrorists?
Oh, well, I mean, if they want to overwhelm the Nigerian state, if they want to overthrow the Nigerian state, then I will expect death penalty in some instances, life imprisonment, death penalty. I think it's a serious crime when you go about pillaging, raping, and destroying people's houses, and maiming, and kidnapping, and all sorts. So I think, of course, the ultimate penalty should be the price.
Are we saying right now there won't be any chances of any bargaining or I don't know what has been done to terrorists in the past? Like in Nigeria, we want to call them, rehabilitate them, and all that. Are we not having any of those?
No, it doesn't foreclose that. It doesn't mean that you cannot negotiate, but at least they should know the consequences. This is the stick approach, but there's also the carrot. In other words, once they know you're serious, and once they know that if they are caught, the consequences are going to be there, then of course when you also give them the alternative on the table to negotiate, they may then come to the table. I think, of course, this war against terrorism so far has proved unwinnable. So we have to have various strategies in place. We have to have the strategy of the penalty, death penalty strategy of going after them, capturing them, fighting them. Also the strategy of negotiating with them. Any of this menu of options has to be on the table. We cannot foreclose any. And I think you note that if you look at places like South Africa, even Algeria and other places, those that were considered terrorists at a point in time transformed to freedom fighters because of negotiation, and they have to sit at the table with them. There might come a point when we have to sit at the table with some of them. But the problem with these terrorists is that many of them are disparate figures, not one individual, many individuals. So sometimes it's very difficult, to sit with all these individuals at one time.
Now, is there anything likely to change very soon?
Well, if the government doesn't change the strategy, then of course it's unlikely to change. And part of the strategy, of course, must mean that if you're going to attack them in their base, then you have to seal off their base entirely. What has been happening is that when they attack in Zamfara, they leave them an escape route to Sokoto. When they attack in Sokoto, there's an escape route to Kebbi. They have to stop such things. They have to seal them up totally. But they also have to go through the long-term repercussions of the amount of children that are out of school, the amount of youths that are uneducated. They also have to go to the control, transport and supply control mechanism of these terrorists and go to the root source and also destroy those root sources, infiltrate them. There are a number of strategies they have to bring together, and it will take some time before this government, or indeed any government, gets its act together.
All right, Doctor. If we say we should start talking about this grazing routes and all that, it will take it will take a whole day. So let's move on to some other stories this morning. There's this story from the Punch newspaper. Southwest governors, senior advocates of Nigeria attack Malami IGP. AGF faults alleged impunity. Okay, there's this story here. The Southwest governors and some senior lawyers on Wednesday condemned the exchange of words between the Lagos State Governor Bajide Sanwo-Olu and a police officer at Magodo Phase 2 on Tuesday. The governors, in a statement by the chairman and Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu SAN, particularly took a swipe at the Inspector General of Police Usman Beba and the Attorney General of the Federation Abubakar Malami SAN over the deployment of police in Magodo. The senior advocates of Nigeria and security experts in separate interviews with the Punch newspaper berated the police, adding that the incident had further exposed Nigeria's weak federalism. Headline there, Magodo, Southwest Governors, SANs attack Malami IGP, AGF faults alleged impunity. That's the headline there. You follow the story on Tuesday, Doctor.
Yes, if we're under any illusion that we have a federal state, I think what happened then has punctured it. The police is a federal police. It is controlled, it is operated, it is directed from Abuja. The fiction that the state governor is the chief security officer of the state has been exposed. I think it was exposed in Sanwo-Olu. I wouldn't give Sanwo-Olu any credit for the way he handled it. I don't think he should have been engaging with the CP. I think his staff was bad staff work. I mean, I think what was going to happen was predictable. I think they should have avoided exposing the governor to such ridicule. But having said that, Malami, in my own view, hasn't gone beyond bounds because the federal police, I'll just be asking the question, the Attorney General, what is his role really? I don't think it is the actual role of enforcement. I think that's the role of the police. And I don't know why the Attorney General was getting involved. Well,
okay, Doctor, quickly. Doctor,
yes.
Quickly, the Attorney General, Malami, justified his involvement in the matter, arguing that his intervention was in furtherance of the doctrine of the rule of law. In a statement by his spokesman, Dr. Omar Gwandu, he said it was within his responsibility as the nation's chief law officer to ensure the execution of valid court decisions. Then you want to ask, Doctor, you are a lawyer too. Then where does it leave the Attorney General of the state? Shouldn't we be looking at the separations of power?
The Attorney General, of course, is responsible, you understand, for giving advice and for ensuring that the government sticks to the rule of law. I don't dispute that. But in terms of the operations, I think it's not really the responsibility of the Attorney General. I think that's the responsibility of the Inspector General. He gives all those instructions to the IGP, advises the IGP rather, and the IGP carries it out. Well, the state, the state is supposed to be in charge of its own security. But the fiction of it is that because we are a unitary state, the Attorney Generals and the state governors are left redundant when it comes to matters of security. So Malami is not necessarily wrong because it's a federal police. If we had a regional police or a state police, then we'll be talking about something different entirely. It is true that there's been some court judgment which needs to be enforced and which has been frustrated at the state level for a while. But having said that, as we speak, the government and the stakeholders and the parties involved have come to an agreement as to how this will be resolved. I think this should have been left for the state to resolve. I believe that someone is competent to be the chief security officer of the state, and he should have been allowed to run things. We didn't need the federal police getting involved. We didn't need the federal attorney general rather getting involved. Of course, they will use the federal police because apart from Amotekun, there's no real law enforcement. that we could have used. So I think it ridicules our federalism, it exposes it. And I think the governors have to realize that except the constitution is amended, this will happen and it will happen again.
All right. In other news, Dr. Jadoko, Buhari has restated his opposition to state policing in this country. Now, let's imagine we had some state police officers at the Magodo side. Sanwo-Olu could have just ordered them out of that region. So, are you saying again that state policing is not something we are ripe for at the moment?
No, I'm not suggesting that. And I'm not one of those who support state police. I support regional policing, where a group of states come together, and have regional police which takes care of their security, because state policing can be misused. But having said that, Buhari is living in the land of the 50s and the 60s and 70s. If we are going to have a federation that works, if we are going to have a nation that works for all, then we must have policing at the local level. The federal policing cannot deliver it. Buhari's recipe is that of traditional rulers. I don't really understand what he's talking about. We need regional policing at a local level that become coordinated locally. The federal police simply would not do. So I think Buhari foreclosing state police, in any case, people will say he has less than 18 months. So it's lame dog. So he might express his views. That's his views as the president. When somebody else comes in, we will look at the constitution again and see how we can amend the constitution. The system is not working. Our police cannot deal with terrorism. Our police cannot deal with crime, with kidnapping, because it's a ponderous and it's an overwhelming institution which basically is being controlled from Abuja.
All right, Doctor, let's look at this story here. Yesterday, the president had a media chat on television, and so many talking points. And one of those talking points here, he says, why I won't disclose my preferred 2023 candidate? And when you hear the reason, well, very interesting. Mr. President yesterday said he would not disclose his preferred successor for personal reasons. Besides, he said it will be too early to anoint his successor, adding that if he discloses his preferred candidate, the person may be eliminated before the 2023 general elections. That's a heinous
coming from
comment
the president
from the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. When you hear such things, then you want to ask, who is safe? Who is safe?
Well, I think that's a misunderstanding. I think my own interpretation is that what it meant when it meant eliminated, it meant politically eliminated, which means that the person may not go through the primaries and may not be nominated from that point of view. So I'm not sure. I think he could have been clearer. I'm not sure it meant that the guy will be taken out of existence. But I think the president has been smart, in my view. You won't hear me saying this. He's been smart in not anointing anybody, because he knows that he's weak politically. If he anoints anybody, of course, people are going to go against that person to say, this is going to be Buhari Mark II. We don't want Buhari Mark II. So I think it's wise and it's been strategic in saying that. But having said that, let's see whether the APC is going to get it together. And let's see whoever they're going to anoint or appoint. Having said that, the president has one vote, like I would expect, like every member of the party. And wherever way he swings doesn't necessarily guarantee that person nomination.
All right, Mr. President further went ahead yesterday to give conditions to signing the electoral bill. And the president stated that he's ready to sign the Electoral Act Amendment Bill if the National Assembly makes the necessary adjustments. Buhari disclosed this during the interview, and he, however, said such changes must include consensus candidates, indirect primary options to the mode of selecting a candidate for an election, as against initial direct mode as the only option to conduct primaries by political parties. These are some of the reasons he gave before he would assent to that bill. And the headline there says, Buhari gives condition to sign electoral bill.
You see, there are many of us who are very cynical, and many of us are suggesting that this president will never sign any electoral amendment bill, particularly those that include electronic transmission of results. I said it before that there was a smoke screen. This, what's it called, direct primaries was a smoke screen introduced by the Senate and the House of Representatives to ensure that the president never signs the bill into law to bring about electronic transmission of results. I don't think the real opposition is the direct primaries. I think the real opposition is the electronic transmission of results, but they cannot say that because obviously it will mean that the government is not interested in transparency. Having said that, I think the Senate and the House of Reps goofed in suggesting that political parties must do direct primaries. I think, as in America, as in Britain and other countries, political parties should be given the options to run their elections, whether consensus, whether direct primaries, or whether indirect. And I think they pulled the masterstroke by putting that in because Buhari was never going to sign it anyway, and they didn't want him to sign it into law. So let's see what will happen. They have two options. They can either override the veto of the president. Well, have they got the lever? Have they got the bottle? Or they can re-amend it and send it back to him. But I suggest to you that this Mr. President is not going to sign any electoral bill into law, even if the amendments are put in there. I'm very cynical.
All right. In other news, again, Buhari said, advised young Nigerians in Nigeria to change their orientation that schooling is only aimed at securing jobs, saying being educated enables one to identify personal problems. He said, I wish when they go to school, when they work hard, when they have a degree, they don't do it thinking that government must give them a job. I know you will agree with Mr. President on this, but what is the economy saying to young school leavers?
Well, first and foremost, if Mr. President and his government is not running the economy well, if it's taken the Mr. President 6.5 years to appoint an economic advisor, and the economy is going down the Swanee, then what do you expect the youth to think? It is true that youth should not just be thinking about government. They should be entrepreneurial in their spirit and in their orientation. But you can only be entrepreneurial when the tools have been provided, when the circumstances are right, when the economy goes right. A lot of youths are into fintech. A lot of youths are into all this, cryptocurrency and all this technology and so on and so forth. And the federal government, by its policies, indirectly or directly, has squashed it, has ensured that many of their businesses, nascent businesses, have been pulverized, have been eliminated, and have been, liquidated from that point of view. So there's some hypocrisy there. It keeps on talking about agriculture. The world that we have today, of course, agriculture is important, but the world that we have today, fintech is also important. The internet, the technology and so on are also very important. So my own view is that it is the responsibility of the government to create the enabling environment. The government hasn't done so. So what do you expect the youth to do? Of course, they're going to look to the government to get paid jobs. But it is true for Mr. President that you don't go to university or secondary school just for the sake of job, but to be educated, to know your rights, and to be responsible adults and citizens.
So when you talk like this, when you say this, and then I want to ask, what enabling environment has the government created for school leavers? Why not create that enabling environment? When you graduate from school, there's a ready-made job for you. This used to be obtainable in the past.
Well, it used to be attainable because, first and foremost, our population wasn't as significant as it is today. It used to be obtainable because we didn't have a revenue or public finance problem. Today, we have a revenue and public finance problem. And part of the issue is that our inflation is going out of skelter with the economy. Part of the issue also is that we have so many people graduating every day, and there are simply no jobs for them in the economy. And part of the problem also is that the government it keeps on borrowing like a drunken sailor. So, of course, this has implications on the economy, which means, you understand, that the government has to find a way to pay it back, which puts a screw on our expenditure and so on and so forth. So there's so many problems. And let's hope that the economic advisor, Salami, within how many months, is it 12 months, will be able to set this government right. But I doubt if he can. The government needs to get the economy right. They're trying to do it now, but I fear that it's too late. Get it right. Cut down your current expenditure, recurrent expenditure. Focus on the things that are important, and let's see where it takes us.
In one of the headlines Chike read earlier, you mentioned something about downsizing and a reaction also from the NLC.
Yeah. Now there are no jobs.
Yeah.
Doctor, there are no jobs. Federal government wants to downsize.
Yes. No. First and foremost, let's be very clear. When we talk about downsizing, I'm not even talking about the jobs in the federal civil service. I'm talking about downsizing from the expenses being paid to the national legislatures. I'm talking about the downsizing with ESTA codes. I'm talking about the downsizing with a number of special advisors, political appointees. That's where my focus is on. My focus is not on the civil servants. My focus is not on those that are running infrastructure.
But President Buhari is focusing on civil servants now. He's insisting that government has to downsize.
Yeah, because the government hasn't got the bottle. They haven't got the political will. If they had the political will, what they would have done, submitted a bill to make the National Assembly part-time. The National Assembly starts for 66 days in the year, and they are being paid full-time. Who does that? Oh, they will say it's because of COVID. Isn't Nigeria alone that has been affected by COVID? Britain was affected. America was affected. They still found ways to sit full-time. So that's where we are spending money down the swan, down the garbage can. You know, we are paying our legislators and we are paying our politicians for jobs that are not being done. Let's look at our politicians first. After looking at our politicians, special advisors, then we can begin to look at other areas of waste, you know, from that point of view. Go and look at the budget heads. Many of them have been repeated again and again. Go and look at the ESTA codes. Go and look at the travel. Go and look at Mr. President's feeding allowance and so on and so forth. All those things need to be cut. All those things need to be looked at.
Doctor, will you agree that because of unemployment, we have more religious leaders these days?
Yes, don't we have more religious leaders? And I think you're only being a bit charitable by saying more religious leaders. We have more church leaders.
I don't want to be specific. I don't want to say church or whatever.
Oh, well, I'm being specific because I'm one of them. The reality of it, you understand, is that churches provide more employment, or increasingly, to some extent more, but more churches all over the place. I don't have a problem with many churches, but the problem I have is when they are not being productive for the economy, when they are not driving the growth of the economy. That's when I have a problem. By all means, let them provide jobs, but then also let them drive the economy
it's
forward.
sad that where we used to have a lot of industries and factories are now occupied by worship places.
Yes, but I think also we have to be fair to them. They have also created a number of universities that are able to educate our youths and so on and so forth. You may say, oh, at high cost. Well, they're still doing something. Yes, but I think churches themselves have a capacity and the ability to even go into industrialization. They raise so much money that many churches can be involved in manufacturing, in production, in providing goods and services. Many of them do producing water and producing other goods and so on and so forth. So I think churches also need to go to the drawing board. Churches, yes, must spread the gospel, but they must also feed the body and they must feed the soul.
Doctor, before we go on the next break, I want to ask you this question. What is the fate of those students in schools now who hope to graduate tomorrow and get a job outside? Is there any fate for them?
Well, I think many universities, including my university, the university that I work, are encouraging people to be entrepreneurs. I think you cannot look to government. I think you have to learn a skill. I think you have to come up with a business plan, with a feasibility study, and you have to begin to look inwards. If you look outwards to government, you are likely not to get anything. We have a large economy. We have over 200 billion. So you must be able to find a business idea or a business plan that can help you move things forward. If you come with a business plan that works, then you might be able to get support, loans, borrowing, and support elsewhere. But for you to sit on your ass and to say because I have a degree in international relations or in law or in mechanical engineering, then therefore my future has been cemented. I think you'll be living in cloud cuckoo land.
All right, Doctor, we'll be going on a break now, and when we come back, we'll open the phone lines, and then we get your thoughts, dear listener. It's still 32 FM 94.9. Remember the numbers to call 0705 500949 and 0809 700949. The YouTube page is on. Drop your comments. Don't go away.
Amazing Day instant cereal. Feed their amazing.
Join Cousins Baby as we nurture and celebrate our little champions in the Cousins Baby Moments competition season 8. Over 5 million naira worth of prizes up for grabs and the ultimate prize of 2 million naira for the baby of the year. To enter, simply purchase any 3 different Cousins Baby products or a Cousins Baby gift pack. Take a creative picture of your baby 0 to 3 years old, showcasing any of their unique gift or talent with the Cousins Baby products in view. Visit www.cousinsbaby.com.ng/CBM8 to upload the picture and register. For more information, follow at Cousins Baby NG on social media. With Cousins Baby, every baby is a star. Terms and conditions apply.
Mini-me noodles, taste the fun. Mini-me noodles, I really, really love it so. It's tasty and yummy. Tasty and yummy. Taste the fun. Taste the fun. Call all your friends now. Call all your friends now. Enjoy your Mini-me noodles. Mini-me noodles, taste the fun. Mini-me noodles, I really, really love it so. Mini-me noodles.
Mini-me, taste the fun.
Mọ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àyíká rẹ nípasẹ̀ ìròyìn BBC ní Yorùbá. Nítorí kí o tó lè tayọ, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́n. Ní ìmísí pẹ̀lú àwọn oríṣiríṣi ìròyìn láti ibi àti káàkiri àgbáyé. Nígbà tí o bá ní ìmọ̀ nípa ohun tó ń lọ ní àgbáyé, o lè ṣe ohunkóhun. Mọ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àyíká rẹ. Wá BBC News Yorùbá kàn.
bọ́dún bá ti dé pèrègùn amáwọ̀ tuntun wọ̀. ìdí nìyí tí iléeṣẹ́ Titan Farms kárí ayé ṣe ń kí gbogbo oníbàárà wa àti gbogbo olùbádókòwò pọ̀ kó àmójúbà ọdún tuntun 2022. wọ́n ní tá a bá ṣọdún èyí tán á tún ṣe mí nínú àlàáfíà àwọn ìdẹ̀ra. bí iléeṣẹ́ Titan Farms ṣe wá ń kí wa kó àmójúbà ọdún tuntun ni wọ́n tún dúpẹ́ ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ tó fi mú àtìlẹ́yìn tí gbogbo wa ń ṣe lóòrèkóòrè. wọ́n ní bá a ṣe ṣe lọ́dún tó kọjá ká tún ṣe jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lọ́dún yìí ká lè bá a jèrè bá a ṣe ń fẹ́. wọ́n lọ́dọọdún ni sápó rúwé ọdọọdún ni màrìwò ṣọ̀ṣọ́ ọdún òní dùn kọ́mọ òbí ó má gborí igbá. lọ́dún 2022 yìí igbá alẹ́ alẹ́ àwọlé òní pẹ̀dín àtàwọn àti yín àjọrí tajé ṣe àríbá ti ṣe àárọ̀ náà gbégbà ire gbogbo ni ó sì bá wa gbé. Happy New Year 2022 Titan Farms ló ń kí gbogbo wa kú àmójúbà ọdún tuntun.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's 32 FM 94.9, and the program is Break of Dawn Newspaper Review. Chike is still here. My name is Dilly, and the lines are buzzing already. But before we take the phone lines, yesterday, Olubadan designate was appointed. That is Oloye Lekan Balogun.
Well, Tayo, I said Tayo, Dele, there are two different languages here. Where endorsement is different from appointment. He was endorsed by the Olubadan Council.
Written to.
You see, many of our colleagues in the media, the way we design headlines and all that to catch the attention of people without passing the true message. It's about English language here. The Olubadan Council endorsed him. Then many headlines will say was appointed.
Well, by the Olubadan Council.
Well, let's get the doctor's thoughts here. Doctor, what are your thoughts on what we just discussed now?
Well, the appointing authority is the governor of the state. The governor appoints, and after the governor is appointed, a day will be scheduled for him to receive the staff of office.
Yeah.
Upon receiving the staff of office, he becomes the Olubadan. Before then, it's the Olubadan elect. So what happens is that the Olubadan Council identifies the next senior person. He sends the list to the governor. The governor then makes a proclamation or whatever it's called, is it Gazette or whatever, and on that basis. So until the governor does that, we don't have an Olubadan elect. We only have somebody that has been so designated, and the governor has to act. So the headline is a bit misleading, but let's see what the governor does. So the ball is in the court of the governors, so to speak.
All right, 0705 5949 0809 700949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Adeshu Yamola from Doha.
Good to have you.
The police against Sanwo-Olu, I think the police did not do well. I was thinking that they should have arrested the governor and evacuate him to Abuja, so that supporters of this government, they will now see how this government and the party are feeling ridiculed this country. On the bandits declaring as terrorists, I think if I'm a member of this man from Kwara State who says bandits are like our normal drivers union here, I will tell Daddy, you are a shame to our family. Let's have the best of today.
All right, thank you for calling. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
King Suamuka is my name. Person from Ring Road.
All right, just go straight to the point.
The only good point in the president's speech for me is he's urging young Nigerians to disabuse their minds from the idea of getting a degree so as to get a good job after school. That's a good point. But the government has to realize that ordinarily, many young Nigerians would prefer to do the path of entrepreneurship, but for the fact that the environment is extremely tough and unconducive for such. So the government should do all that is required to make the environment conducive enough for young persons to engage in entrepreneurship. Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Alaji.
Alaji Asalaka Ademuzadi for Coca-Cola.
Go ahead, Alaji.
Yeah, on the issue of downsizing or right-sizing, I think I told the line of the doctor that it is the politicians and political office holders that should reduce the number of their aides. They should reduce the number of the amount of their take homes in order to not to stifle the economy of the country, because they are taking too much as politicians, and there are a lot of political aides being appointed, and this is having a big toll on our economy. Thank you.
All right,
thank you, Alaji, for calling 0705 500949 0809 700949. We have lots of messages on YouTube.
Okay, let's take this message from Motalani Abiola. Okay, good morning to you. On the refusal of state police by Mr. President, honestly, I've said it on different platforms that this current structure puts the whole nation under one tribe. Either state police or regional police, honestly, this present administration under the leadership of President Muhammad Buhari is not ready to listen to millions of Nigerians agitating for this policy. Okay, Bora Oshoko, my question is this. Those Olubado in council fight with king for, they fought with the king for 3 years out of 5 years reign. Now, why did they refuse to wear their crown to Makbo Hall for that meeting after they your point is not well articulated here, Bora Oshoko. Try to put it together next time. Raphael Osai, it keeps getting clearer that justice in this country is only for those who can afford it. Those that killed Sylvester have been let loose by the law. Hashtag justice for Sylvester.
If I want Dr. Ojedokun's response to that latest news, those guys have been let off, and they say it's Uncle Ulsa, and not some. Dr. Ojedokun, are you still there?
Yes, which story is that?
That's the Sylvester Oromoni
Darwin
story.
College story.
Yes. I think a lot of people are quite disappointed. The evidence would seem to suggest, we are not medical people, but the evidence would seem to suggest that the guy was tortured and that, in fact, that the intent was to brutalize and to maim him. But the government is saying that there's no evidence that it was murder. Obviously they have evidence that we don't have, but to a lot of people it's very disappointing, and there will be people calling for further investigation to find out, to establish what happened exactly, what's going on. I think it's a surprise to me, and I think to many people it's a huge disappointment.
And I think there were two corona results,
and we need to follow it up.
All right. Hello, good morning. Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good good morning.
Good morning.
This is John Olarwaju from Ajo.
All right, John, shoot.
The issue of Mr. President said that he did not want to mention his professor, that they might kill him. That's not the way I'm going. But the way I'm going is this. It's not even for the Mr. President to say that he is going to mention his successor. It's within the public, the citizens, that we are saying this is going to be the successor of Mr. President by voting for that person, because Mr. President too was getting to that position by voting for him by the citizens. So it is not in the within of Mr. President to say, I'm the one that make my successor. No. He cannot give us his successor. He cannot appoint anybody that is going to be the president next to him. It's not within his power. And the law, constitution, is not allowed that. That's for that one. Now, number two, for the graduate, to me, I think the analysts have said a lot. Look at the even gas. There are many youth graduates that are involved in business of the gas. Look at the way they were doing the gas now, increasing every day and affecting many people. Electricity is there, and then even cryptocurrency, the mentioned, and also the power. So those are the things that are combined together that didn't allow the graduate to get the job, which is Oxford by the federal government policy of the buy policy, and for the Sanwo-Olu, I think the governor of Lagos is supposed to respect the constitution of the law. The constitution and the law.
All right, John, we have to let you go so others can contribute. Thank you.
That's what he's supposed to do. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, thank you. 0705 500949. Okay, kindly turn down the volume on your radio set, or we have to take you off.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Bayo from Ologun.
All right, good morning, Bayo.
Thank you. Quick one. I want to say something. Hello, are you hearing me, sir?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to copy, how to follow Alaji Way, Alaji Absalam. During the issue of security in the state, we are blaming GSM that he doesn't have the control. Yes, we said the police will not listen to him. They get orders from Abuja, but that time we condemn him. Look at what happened to Sanwo-Olu in Lagos, CSP. Look at the way he rather effrontery to be talking to a new governor. Sanwo-Olu was telling him, I'm the chief security officer of the state. He said, call Abuja. See insult. About the issue of Olubadan, I was expecting those people to wear crown to that place yesterday. But after they are king now. I expected to wear crown to that place with their this thing. They didn't go there. It's not right. After they are king. Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling.
5,949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Dele. Good morning, Chike.
Good morning.
On the issue of hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you. Go ahead. Okay, your line seems not to be clear. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from? Your name?
John Ndoko is my name.
All right.
Yes, Baba Kodoro. You see, I am sure that people are condemning that is CSP. I am equally surprised even now as I'm talking to you that people are condemning the actions of the chief superintendent of police. That man has not done anything wrong. That man is only answerable to the superior who sent him to that place and no other person. And when you watch the way he was answering the Lagos State governor, is there anything wrong? How many of us are there? I am not going to disclose how many security operatives that I have for security reasons. And if you are telling me to call the IG, it's not for me to call the IG. It is for you to call and report anything. I've not seen anything wrong done by that chief superintendent of police. He was actually doing the correct thing, and he answered even the governor in a moderate manner. In my own view, he has not done anything wrong. It is not for him to call the IG. It is for you to call the IG if you feel I've done anything wrong. I'm done with that. That is where I stand.
Dr. Yejoku, do you agree with that, with the fact that governors don't have a full grip of their states?
Well, in terms of security, I think it's a fiction to suggest they're the chief security officer. I think the Lagos commissioners of police have more of a grip of the security of the state than the governors. The governors simply don't have the power to enforce what the Constitution says they are. So I would say that the Constitution, except the Constitution is amended, will just continue to have that fig leaf, which suggests that the chief security officer of the state when they are not. So, yes, they are not. I think we're just messing around. The constitution really is not clear.
All right, hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ola calling from Ibadan.
Okay, you have 30 seconds because we have to wrap it up.
In Lagos State, concerning the issue of the land, to me, I cannot blame the CSP. I will blame the governor because what the man did, what the CSP did, to me was right. Is the governor supposed to call the superior person, supposed to call Abuja and verify on what is happening? The man was there based on the instruction.
All right, you've made your point. Doctor, we have to go. Your final thoughts.
Well, I think it's just laughable that all these Olubadan people in Olubadan Council, at a point in time, many of them had crowns. And you're wondering, you understand, why didn't they wear the crowns to this Olubadan Council meeting? Are they ceased to be Obas? Indeed, they are. So I think it tells you, you understand that ambition is a very funny thing.
All right, my name is Chike Ubogo. Thank you, dear listener, for being there. I want to wish you a very positive day ahead.
My name is Dele Adeyoju. Thank you for your time with us. Good morning.